Hey, second graders, I changed up my classroom because I want it to snow. So I decorated it with a cool snow scene. Today is our last day that we're going to be talking about this book, Stone Girl, Bone Girl. And we're going to be focused and zoomed in really closely on the ending of the story. Today, we are going to answer questions about key details from the book, Stone Girl, Bone Girl. And remember that key details are those most important parts. Not every detail is a key detail. Key details are details that the story couldn't happen if this key detail, this very important detail, wasn't in there. And then we're going to work on retelling the story of Stone Girl, Bone Girl using those key details, just those really important details about the events and the characters. So let's jump right ahead to our cool tongue twister poem. Remember, this was written about Mary Anning. She sells seashells. I'm going to try to read it. I've been practicing. I'm going to try to read it really fast. And you can too. If you want to pause, you can try to do it really fast. She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells that she sells are seashells, I'm sure. So if she sells seashells, blah, blah, blah. It's so hard to do. So if she sells seashells on the seashore, I'm sure that the shells are seashore shells. Love this poem. That's so neat how they did that with the sound, but it's also about Mary Anning. All right, let's jump into the text. Okay, so we're going to start on page 19 today. And I want you thinking, how did Mary Anning respond to challenges in her life? One morning, Mary was so busy daydreaming, she didn't notice that her dog had wandered away. She ran along the beach calling for him, but he was nowhere to be seen. At last she heard a faint barking, and looking up, she saw the speckled dog high on the sloping side of the cliff. Mary called for him to come down, but the little dog wouldn't move. He was furiously scratching at something in the clay. Mary had no choice. She began to slowly climb the rock face. At last, she reached the little ledge where the dog was standing. What did Mary do when she heard her dog barking? She climbed up to find him. That's how she responded there. Her heart missed a beat. She couldn't believe what she saw. Her heart missed a beat. What's that telling us? That's a way that the author shows us that she's surprised or excited. Her heart missed a beat. That's a great way to do that too. And you'll do that when you're writing your narrative and you want to show us your feelings. You'll tell us what your body was doing. She couldn't believe what she saw. Grinning up at Mary was an enormous skull. The little dog had found the sea monster. All morning, Mary scraped furiously with Pepper's hammer. There was more than a skull, a whole skeleton perhaps, but it was far too big for Mary to cope with on her own. Who could help? Suddenly, she remembers Pepper's old friends, the quarrymen. Okay, what is challenging for Mary in this part of the story? Gosh, she wants to get that skeleton, but she knows she can't carry it. So what does she do? She remembers Pepper had some old friends, the quarrymen, that could help, and so she goes to get help. Leaving the little dog to guard the monster, Mary Anning climbed carefully down to the beach, then ran as fast as she could to the quarry. I found it, she shouted. I found the sea monster. In less than 10 minutes, Mary was leading a group of quarrymen carrying picks and shovels up the side of the cliff. The news spread like fire through the town. Mary Anning has found the sea monster. Mary Anning has found it. An excited crowd gathered on the beach to watch the excavation. The Misses Philpott arrived in their fine clothes and made a tremendous fuss of Mary. Even the children who had teased her came to watch. But they weren't laughing now. As the evening sun melted into the sea, a strange procession made its way back to the town. A small girl, covered in mud, led the crowd. Let me see if I see her. There she is. She's the small girl covered in mud. She's going, yay! And then here's the procession. It's all the quarrymen carrying the sea monster. At the back, 6 strong quarrymen carefully carried the bones of a real sea monster as long as a tree and more than 165 million years old. And these are the Mrs. Philpott ink right here. The skeleton was laid out on the floor of Pepper's workshop for all the world to see. For months afterward, visitors came to meet the fossil girl of Lyme Regis. Who's the fossil girl of Lyme Regis? Right, it's Mary Anning. That's her new nickname, the fossil girl. Famous scientists came in carriages from London and even the King of Saxony. It was the most important fossil ever found, they said. They called the monster Ichthyosaurus, the fish lizard. The museum that bought it paid enough money for Mary and her mother to live happily for the rest of their lives. But the strange thing was, the little speckled dog had gone, as if he had done his work and drifted away. Sometimes, Mary imagined she could hear a faint barking from far away in the sea mist. Then Mary Anning would smile and touch the little snake stone around her neck and step back into the warm workshop where the shelves were filled with treasures from the dark and dangerous rocks. So today, your job is to retell the ending of the story. You're going to have attached in Google Classroom a copy of this. In the end, the action stops, problems get solved, the story finishes, and I want you to retell the most important key details of those pages in the ending. If you need to go back and watch this video a little bit again to see some more of the pages, you can do that. You have some choices. You can do this in your notebook. You don't even need this slide. You can do this in your notebook and you can take a picture of it for Google Classroom. Or you can print this and write on the lines and take a picture for Google Classroom, or you can type on the slide. You'll have to probably take the lines out though, because they're going to do something really funny when you start typing on there, but you can do that too. So you have 3 different choices. And then when you get done and you've turned that in, I've linked in this assignment 2 very cool fossil videos I want you to watch. Each one is only a couple minutes long, but they're very good. They're very interesting. So the last thing I was going to do in this video was going to show you the very last page of this book. Did you know Mary Anning was a real person? I thought I told you that, right? She's a real person. This is the story. This is her biography. This is her story of her life. It says Mary Anning was born in 1799 and lived all her life in Lyme Regis in Dorset. At 15 months, she survived the lightning strike, which killed her nurse and 2 other girls. So see, that really happened. Mary was always stubbornly independent, and she became a well-known local character hunting for fossils, accompanied by her little dog. At the time, this was an extraordinary occupation for a young girl. The great Ichthyosaurus, which she discovered at the age of 12, was only the first of Mary's many finds, which played an important part in the new science of evolution, eventually leading to Darwin's Origin of Species. She later uncovered plesiosaurs? No, I think that might be a T. Pterosaurs, several other ichthyosaurs, and hundreds of other fossils which can still be seen in museums around the world. Lyme Regis continues to attract fossil hunters, and children still chant the old tongue twister about Mary Anning, the fossil girl of Lyme Regis. And there it is. There's the old tongue twister about her. Well, now I'm going to have to add Lyme Regis to a place I want to go visit one day. I want to go see all this stuff. All right, you all have a great day. All right.